from something. And my clients have found that really helpful to make sense of what's happening in their body. And another story I was going to share with you in terms of eliciting a positive emotion is sometimes I'll use movement, like with a client of mine who came in. She had been drugged, kidnapped, and raped. It was
oh my God.
horrible situation. And she had already seen several therapists and psychiatrists. And her mother, actually, they lived in a different state from me in Tennessee, but her mother heard me on a podcast that may have been yours and thought, she sounds like she might offer something different. And so this woman's sister lived here in Chattanooga, ironically. So she brought her daughter down. She's like, why don't you see this therapist in Chattanooga? Well, I'm going to admit to everybody, I told them, I said, yes, I specialize in trauma. I'm happy to help, but I don't know that I can fix this in a few sessions. This is serious. So I wanted to keep their expectations realistic. At any rate, daughter, I'll call her Monique, client comes in. She's in a full-fledged panic attack when she comes into my waiting room because she's thinking I'm going to have to talk about this trauma yet again. And so I'd use that same attune, lift, and lead language. I said, oh my goodness, I know that must be really scary for you. And what you'd really like is to feel like you can settle things down. Well, what I know about anxiety is your body wants to move. That, come into therapy to talk about this trauma is scary. And your body's saying, get out of there. Why do you want to go visit the worst day of your life again? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
So let's walk outside and see if that doesn't help. Do you feel able to walk? Are you dizzy? She goes, no, let's get outside, because I feel like I can't breathe. So we just started walking together on the trail. I happen to have a little.
Yeah, that's so great because you're opening it up.
Yes.
Already, by getting out of the confined space of your office.
Yes.
So it seems like the timing of that was perfect.
It was. And, honestly, it wasn't like at the moment, I didn't feel like a brilliant therapist. I just felt like, oh gosh, I know the body responds better to movement sometimes when you're anxious, and I could see like she didn't want to be there. So let's get outside. I want to get it out of the therapy context. And as we were walking, I started talking to her about, you know what? I want to talk about everything but the trauma today. Like, I want to get to know you. That was one part of your life, but what were you like before that? What'd you like to do? What's your favorite pizza? Let's make it real light. And so she said,
she must have
me,
loosened up just tremendously.
She did. And so it can be that simple, David. Like, we don't have to think of some clever, like profound thing. It can just be the simple shift into something less threatening.
Wow.
And she told me later that we did, some other trauma work and I found there was one session in particular that I thought she would tell me was probably the best session, because I, as the therapist, thought, wow, she made some big progress. So, when we were ending therapy, I asked her what stood out for you? What was the most helpful for you? And she said, you just get me out to walk the first day. She said, honestly, that's the best thing we did.
Wow. Not all your other fancy techniques and so on.
None of that. She
your
said,
theoretical constructs about what you're supposed to do.
She said, for the first time, I thought, wait, if I can walk on the trail and talk about pizza, I'm not broken.